We don't even know who the surprise guest is on Comic Book Canon. That's right. Chris Killian unfortunately could not make it tonight, but he set us up with a surprise guest, and I quote, somebody who will soon be a household name. We are going to find out very shortly who this person is, and it will be worth the wait. But what is not worth the wait, and I don't, that's probably a backhanded compliment. That's no compliment at all. You know who's not worth the wait? Are my good friends, partners in crime, and co-hosts of the show, Joseph and Chris. I meant to be complimentary with that, but it came out really bad.
We're not worth the wait.
You're not worth the wait. You are worth the wait. You're worth the wait in gold. You're worth the wait in time. You're worth the wait in my heart. So yeah. So anyways, guys, again, Chris Killian could not make it, so we do have the surprise guest. I don't know. Should we guess who this is?
Yeah, put it in the chat if you think you know. Personally, Chris Killian, he's got some connections. So
he does?
You know,
he was just with Todd McFarlane this past weekend. Actually,
yeah. Listen, Brad Pitt's production company has bought a couple different optioned comic books. Could be him. We know Jake Gyllenhaal has been in the Marvel universe and is now tied to two different properties: Oblivion Song as well as the Prophet movie.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a lot of people it could be. Could be a writer, could be an artist. You never know.
It's exciting nonetheless. Chris, do you have any guesses? Do you want to?
One guess and one person only.
It can't be too hot.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Are you kidding? Yep. Why do you think? I got to ask.
Body, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, I got to ask why Megan Thee Stallion.
Because she's the Canon's #1 fan. I mean, it's just, it has to be.
Millions of people watch this show. We are the most popular comic book show on the YouTube. 11 million are watching right now. Our show's barely even started, so it's quite exciting nonetheless. But before we bring in our surprise guest, we got to bring in our number one. Actually, he is the draw, or so he thinks. He is the draw of the show. Chet, welcome to the show.
Well, look who decided to invite me back for another round of fun. You know, it's not easy being this charming. But enough about me, folks. I am absolutely thrilled about our guest tonight, Chris Killian. I'm his biggest fan and actually came down to Nashville to see if I can hang with him after the show right here on Broadway.
This is what happens when Chet doesn't attend the Comic Book Canon board meeting and the Comic Book Canon prep meeting and the rehearsals and everything like that. Because we put in 50 to 60 hours a week
easily
prepping for the shows, rehearsing, all that stuff. Chet does not attend them. Chet does not realize that our guest had to postpone on us.
That's right, Chet. Chris cannot make it. Chris Killian.
What? You're kidding, right? I was all geared up for some epic comic banter with Chris. This is a bummer. I suppose I'm intrigued, though. Let's see if this mystery guest lives up to Chris's hype.
Yes, we do have a mystery guest. That's correct. And we are about to reveal this mystery guest. Do we have any other guesses you guys want to make in the comments? I saw Frank Miller. I saw Dan. I think P. Keel thinks it's Dan De La Torre. Chris, Chris, our Chris thinks it is Megan Thee Stallion. So I guess there's only one way to find out who this mystery guest is. Very excited to bring this person on the show because we've hyped it up big time. That's right. Let's bring in our mystery guest right now. Oh, mystery guest, you look very intimidating. Why don't we bring you down so you don't have that single shot? That is, yeah. Okay, I guess we should ask some questions. He's quite quiet. I'll start. Are you an actor?
No.
Okay. Chris, do you want to ask a question?
My question, well, man, I mean, it could be Megan Thee Stallion with a voice changer. So I'm still gonna ask, are you my future wife?
No.
Are you a musician?
No.
All right. Joe, do you have any questions? I don't know.
I have a question. Are you affiliated with any sort of religious clergy? Oh.
Who is he? Oh my gosh. Who is this?
It's the Pope of Chili
Hey.
Oh my
Town.
God, the Pope of Chili Town. Chris Killian
What's going on?
Chris Killian set us up with the Pope of Chili Town. This is embarrassing. I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know you guys are friends. Second of all, where the hell is he getting that you're going to be a household name at some point? There's a lot of pissed off people in the chat already.
Seriously? Mike? The Pope of Chillitown? This is what we get instead of Chris Killian, the comic book legend. This isn't what I signed up for. Let's just get on with it, shall we? Welcome, Pope of Chillitown. I can't wait to hear how you're about to revolutionize the comic book world.
Yep. Chet's a little pissed, but here we go.
I don't blame them, but I want to be clear. I'm going to make up for it.
Oh, really? Do tell.
I have something really special for you guys tonight. I'm not telling you what it is. These guys don't know what it is.
I might.
But, I'm going to make it worth it. I promise.
Okay. Well, why don't we just get the show started with our, soon to be a household name. That must be very humbling for you to hear that from, Chris Killian, who just came back from interviewing Todd McFarlane. Chris Killian will be here next month. Why don't we just get to it? Joe, do you have some news for us? Do you have some news for us?
Yeah, we have a couple of pieces of news. I just forget which one the first one queued up is, so it'd be great if you could tell me.
Why don't I just give you
just prompt me here.
Why don't I just prompt
I was
you?
busy watching Saw number 6 before the
This
show.
is a good
Right.
one.
So, as far as news that no one really cares about or needs to hear, El Muerto, the movie from Sony featuring the character that appears in a few issues of a Spider-Man offshoot run from, the last 15 years or whatever. Apparently, I don't know if it's still going forward, but Bad Bunny, who is the actor rapper attached to the role, is no longer attached to said role. Therefore, they're back at square one. Obviously, they can't be doing anything right now with the strikes. And I have a feeling this is going to get canceled just because think about it. There was not a good, no one was excited about this on the internet. It's not like, the Morbius movie people were excited about. It wasn't great. It wasn't good, but people were excited about the character because people know Morbius. He's been around since the 70s. He's had ample roles. He's had his own run. Team ups with Blade, team ups against or fights with Blade. So, I feel like this is it's going to disappear into oblivion. That's just my opinion. That's just my guess. Who knows what Sony's going to do? They could definitely try to push this one out.
Yeah, again, as you said, news that or a movie that nobody asked for nor nobody cared about. I don't really care about this update either.
Right.
Bad Bunny was in that film Bullet Train, I think it was, with Brad Pitt, and there's a lot of people in that movie. He was excellent in that. He was out there, but I loved it, and I think he's a great actor, very talented.
Sure.
in all realms. But I don't give a shit about this character. Chris, your thoughts.
So there's been 2 incidences where either on this show or on my channel, I've literally thrown a comic across the room. And one of those incidences was when I went in and huge Spider-Man read I've read almost every Spider-Man book ever published, and I own that whole Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man run, and I went into my own personal collection and got out issues 6 and 7 and literally threw them across the room before grabbing them and making sure they were decently okay and putting them back in my box. And this is when this announcement first happened, and I entitled the video "Worst Investment Ever" or something like that. And and this was still like at the height of COVID and all that. So it wasn't like the market's trending down or anything. I mean, and I got such crap. I even had somebody telling me that I was like racist because I wasn't liking the fact that Latino characters are getting, and obviously that has nothing to do with anything that's going on here. As you can see, Sony is once again just, I don't know, not knowing what they're doing. And to your point, Jeff, while I don't like the nobody asked for this, like I don't like that as a defense. No offense for you bringing it up, but
no, I'm not mad.
Nobody essentially asked for anything, right? And we put our faith in writers and creators and studios to tell good stories and make good movies, et cetera, et cetera. And then we watch it and then we enjoy it, and word of mouth, and it becomes successful. But with this situation, to me, it's just another opportunity for Sony to milk a property that they own the rights to. I mean, Hollywood is so dry that movies already, I mean, you have like Mammoth Shark, 27, where like sharks are like, flying in outer space with Vin Diesel, and like we are so desperate in our ability and attempt to create stories that it makes no sense anymore, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about a character that showed up in a few issues of a Spider-Man comic and then disappeared again. And it's like, look, I would have rather Sony or a movie studio say they saw these comic books, right? And they sat down at a board table and said, hey, this is a good story. We should like do something similar to this. And they could have ran with the theme and the cultural significance of certain of these types of characters and created their own stories and changed the names and just made a movie and not tied it to anything Spider-Man to try to hype it up, to try to sell these properties, to try to, whatever. And now the one thing that they had going for themselves, which is, well, let's get this big name, superstar, and sell it, and now he's gone. And I agree. I'm sorry, I went on a rant, but I think this is going to get canceled too. I don't think it's going anywhere.
I have a sneaky suspicion here, or feeling, from our surprise guest, aka Mike, aka Pope of Chilitown. You're probably aligned with our thoughts on the El Muerto movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually have a couple minds about it. I mean, on one hand, like I thought it was weird when I heard about it. On another, then there was talk of like, oh, maybe this is code for something else, kind of like Donald Glover and getting cast as Hypno Hustler, and people saying like, oh, this is code for some other movie. They're not really making a Hypno Hustler movie,
Prowler. Yeah.
So with this thing though, it was like, on one hand, I'm kind of all for seeing something new. Like I mean, I'm not excited about this character, don't get me wrong, but like I could go a decade and not see the Joker on screen again, and I'd be perfectly happy. Like, show me something different, show me something new. I'm all about that. But Sony has no track record. It's like, you guys remember when when Marvel said they were making Guardians, people were like, what the hell are you doing? Yep. Right. And then they like proved to us, and they got our good faith for the next 10 years. Like now it's kind of starting to wane again a little bit. But like when they did Guardians, they proved like, okay, we don't know what you're going to do next, but it's going to be great, whatever it is. Sony, they have no track record. So when they said, oh, we're doing El Muerto, it's like, it was just like, of course it's going to get a really weird negative, reaction. And then let's just kind of go along with that. Like in general, when I talk about like some of the recent movies, and maybe I go off on a rant of like me not liking them, but like what I'm like on a crusade against right now is mediocrity. Like there's a lot of movies that I like. I didn't like Quantumania. I didn't particularly like Blue Beetle, and a couple other recent ones. And it's not because that they're bad. It's just that they've been so freaking average, like just painfully average. Yeah. And like Blue Beetle was the movie that Marvel stopped making 8 years ago. And that's why I don't like it, because it's just I've been there and I've done that, and show me something new. So I'm all, if Sony could do a great El Muerto movie, I'll buy a ticket and I'll say it's great, but I don't trust them to do it.
That's exactly it too. And somebody brought up a good point. I was reading a message board or something this week about the Ahsoka show, and people just saying how slow and boring it is. I love it, especially this last episode. Episode 5 was absolutely incredible. Somebody posted saying, "You know what it is, people? We are spoiled because the bar that's been set, that's dope. That is awesome. The bar that's been set has been so damn good that it's so hard to achieve and stay at that." And you're right. Things are just kind of average these days. Like a lot of the stuff that's coming out is average. And maybe 10 years ago, we would have been like, whoa, blown away by the multiverse and the special effects and all of that stuff. But that's a very, very good point. Pope of Chillytown, which we'll need to change your name to, by the way. Why don't we just do that right now? So yeah, but moving on, right? Am I right? Is it time to move on?
Yeah. I think that's enough about that. I mean, one last thing that I just want to say is that we want those movies to succeed. We're not here to talk crap on a movie.
We say that. We always say that.
Yeah, I think it's really important because there's so much. There's so many instances of people wanting these movies to fail for some reason, and like just preemptively talking bad about things before they've seen a trailer, before they know who's attached to it. Like, let's be real. The amount of crap talk there was on the Miss Marvel television show, before anything, was absurd, and that show was super fun.
It was great. Yeah, absolutely. I
want
agree.
these to succeed, and hope they do. If they ever do an El Muerto movie, I hope it knocks my socks off. I hope I eat my words, but
nobody has asked. And again, Pope brings up a good point. The track record has been atrocious.
Yeah,
100%. All right, moving on though from the SMCU, SMICU, to the DCU. Let's go for it. I don't know where this falls in, but we did get some news this week on Aquaman.
Yeah, last week, actually, live during the show, we were told by an audience member that a little teaser trailer had dropped during Sunday Night Football for Aquaman 2, and it had announced that there would be an Aquaman trailer in 4 days, and we got that trailer. And I'll give my opinion first, since I'm the one talking. Did not get me excited. To be totally honest, I am not as much of a DC guy. I am also definitely not an Aquaman guy, just not a character I've ever read, not a character I've ever followed, anything like that. I know more from the movies than I do from the comics, or the movie rather. That being said, it didn't, my heart rate stayed exactly the same the whole time.
Okay, that's a good point. Let's give Mike, aka Pope of Chillytown. Yes, he's our surprise mystery guest. Let's give you your thoughts.
Much along the lines of what I was just saying. I know it was a teaser, and teasers are often just like shots of images and stuff, but this was just like, it just was sort of like image to image to image that just didn't excite me. And then it didn't really like impart much of the story or whatever. And we're only a couple months out from this movie. I remember when I walked out of Blue Beetle, I was like, how is there not a teaser for Aquaman in front of Blue Beetle? It's the last DC movie until the very last DC movie. This is like, how are they not promoting this movie in front of Blue Beetle? And I was like, this movie has to be garbage. If there's no trailer out now, like it comes out at Christmas. So I don't know. The trailer didn't do anything for me. I mean, I thought the first one was decent. There are things about it I didn't like, but I mean, for the most part, I liked it. I think Jason Momoa is great. I think he's great casting for that. And there's a lot that I did like about it, but this one was just like a bunch of weird underwater CGI that I kind of didn't care about.
Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah. First off, I mean, trailers are doing so much these days, because now a teaser trailer seems to be like a normal trailer. And then the normal trailer, which they have 2 or 3 different ones, give away the whole movie. So, and even from this, it's just like kind of to what Pope was saying about on the previous topic. Mediocrity. I've seen this before. We've been here before. We've done it before. I have no there's no ounce of me that is making me want to even like, put a sock on to go to the movies and spend money to see this. I don't care.
Yeah, we've fallen a long way. I'll tell you what. I like Aquaman the character. I read the New 52. That was the first time I started reading Aquaman, to be honest. Picking up Aquaman. No, that's not true. But New 52 is like, hey, this is good because Ivan Reis was doing the art. I think Jeff Johns was writing it. And I remember there was the first issue, there was a scene where he's sitting at the table, and I can't remember who he's sitting with, but they're like, people think you suck, like the superhero. And he had it was just a funny answer, and I was like, they're acknowledging this. This is cool. But seeing that trailer again, it was just like kind of reminded me of what the first film was, and the first film was entertaining. There are a lot of, and I don't use this word often at all, but there were a lot of cringe moments. I mean, Pope, you brought up last week, I totally forgot about it, but the octopus playing drums, it's like, and it's the last connection to the DCEU. Granted, maybe some of these characters or actors are going to play the same character in Gunn's Gunn and Safran's universe, but yeah, they got a problem. Like, honestly, if they're not going to treat this like Batgirl, they're going to be losing. I mean, it's too late now. They've already marketed it. There's, they're already booked in the theaters. They're going to lose money on this film. No doubt about that. And they've already lost on Blue Beetle. There's 4 movies.
Flash.
What is it?
Flash.
They lost Flash. What else? There's 2 more that came out that were DC.
Shazam and Black Adam.
There you go. I don't think Black Adam was this year, but there's one more that may not be a superhero film, but they all lost out on that. Man. And it's just it's just, I don't know.
I have a theory. What if this is James Gunn and team working with Warner Brothers to say it's kind of like a perception thing going on here, to where they are kind of manipulating driving the perception of what's remaining to be so negative that the anticipation for the James Gunn DCU is like, yeah, like even extra whatever, because we're like, they drag this out and they put the taint in the water on purpose to really, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I like your
theory. To make it look better, to make it look,
theory, But there is so much that goes into that, and that's a very, very risky bet. Very risky bet on that. Granted, all of us are hyped for Gunn and what he's going to do, but I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. Look, I don't think anybody ever goes out to make bad art, right? I don't think anyone's ever I'm sure that these guys, they were trying to make the best Aquaman movie they can. Don't forget, the first Aquaman made over $1 billion worldwide. That movie was a massive success. And I think it was a lot of thirsty moms were really driving ticket sales for that particular movie. But that movie was a massive success, and it's the same team. And James Wan is no slouch, and Jason Momoa is great. And
wait, but James Wan is doing that movie?
Yes.
Yeah,
he did the first one.
Yeah,
I see. I was unaware of that. He's one of my favorite filmmakers.
Yeah,
and if this one is doing the Trench or whatever, it's very horror-esque. So there's potential here, but don't forget, my A number 1 DCEU movie is Wonder Woman, and that's the hill I'll die on, and that's the only one that I own of pretty much all those movies and have watched multiple times. But Wonder Woman 1984, look what happened with that, and now we're repeating that cycle with Aquaman 2. So,
well, I want to be clear.
Maybe.
Yeah, I wasn't saying, because these films are already made, so I wasn't saying that they were sabotaging it going into making it. I'm saying now, the marketing behind it is like you were saying, the trailer is just what is all this? We have to release it. We got it. We're gonna put it out there and whatever. So it's more of the marketing to where they're trying to drive emotions with these films that are already made. But
they probably don't want to dump $1 into it, I think is what.
But I go back to saying, man,
I get what you're saying. But
what's the Batgirl movie, man?
How bad? How much of an investment are you making to put your own trailer in front of your own movie,
right?
Aquaman 2 in front of Blue Beetle, Like, that's not much of an investment at all. Anyways, whatever. Let's just move on to our final little news piece here. We got a lot to cover in the show anyway, and I have bedtime tonight. You know what I mean, guys? So finally, we do have some optimistic news. I'm excited for this.
Oh, yeah.
Haters that are not optimistic for this, but go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, we got a really awesome looking poster here with a teaser of the Marvels, the next installment, the last installment this year, as far as movies in the MCU. I'm very excited about this. They're bringing in 3 characters that we've seen really in 3 different, we did see Monica in the original Captain Marvel movie, but she became, a major character in WandaVision, Ms. Marvel in her own show, and then, Carol Danvers coming back into the picture. And I'm super excited for this. I think it looks like a fun movie. And there are rumors. I'm not going to really state anything, but there are rumors that this is going to be a big part of moving the MCU forward.
And that's exciting. Again, that's what we were talking about too with these DCEU films, which hopefully DCU will happen. None of those films moved anything forward. Whether you love the MCU films or not, they move the universe forward, right? They are moving the universe forward with the shows as well. So I'm excited for this. I'm definitely excited for this film. The trailers look fun. Again, I got duped with Venom 2. I was like, oh, this trailer looks great. And it was, that was worse. That was worse than Mobius by far. But anyways, I'm excited for this as well. I don't understand the hatred for all of these characters. Mike, your thoughts?
I thought the trailer looked okay. I mean, I'm on a bit of a downswing with Marvel in general, so they kind of have to win me back a little bit. I do think Iman Vellani makes everything 80% better. I think she's great in the role, and I think she's adorable, and I'm psyched to see her play in the MCU proper. There's elements of it that I'm really looking forward to. So I just all I can say is I hope it's good. I hope it's not a letdown. I feel like we've heard before, oh, this is the one that's going to move the storyline forward, and it kind of hasn't been. So I would love for the storyline to move forward and hope that happens here. No, I mean, look, I'm going to go see it. I'm all in. I'm eager to enjoy it, and hopefully it's good.
I do want to say, P. Keel, who is a Dallas fan, and I'll tell you right now, this guy doesn't like Dallas. This guy on an angle doesn't like Dallas. And then this guy does not like Dallas either. Just want to make sure we know that. It is not a series. It is a film. It is a film. And it really does look good. You got Sam Jackson, he's basically in 90% of all Marvel films. But it just looks great. And I do have high hopes for it moving the series forward in a fun way. Chris, your thoughts on the Marvel?
It's already been said. I can't wait. I do feel I'm not as much on I haven't been as hard on the MCU as a lot of people, because again, I understand what they've been doing, and it's directed at different audiences, and they've been taking risks. As much as people hated on She-Hulk did the exact same thing that Loki did and was supposed to do. That did the exact same thing that WandaVision was supposed to do, just for different people.
Mm-hmm.
Quantumania, not so much. That's where with Marvel, I was a bit let down. And also the Eternals, I felt like there was a bit of a DCEU mistakes with the Eternals. But as I gone back and watched that movie, I've enjoyed it a little bit more, and I'm not so critical of it. But so I just think I'm pretty confident that I'm going to enjoy this movie all the way around.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of the consensus, I'd say. Pope is on we'll see. All right. We do have maybe a little bit of piece of news that I really can't speak much about other than.
Yeah. I heard about this. Some dispute between creator of Fables, which super popular indie comic, Bill Willingham, and DC, who I guess I'm not sure if they own there was a Vertigo title, right? If I remember. So yeah, that's I guess why they own part of it or some of it, but he's trying to actually make the product public domain. I don't know the legality behind it. I don't know if he is able to do that without permission from DC Vertigo. If he does have ownership of it, yeah, sure. And that could definitely screw over DC. I know that it's some dispute. That's as much as I know about it. I just heard about it in passing this week.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but that's quite interesting. If owners who have publishers want to make their story or their characters or creations public domain, you don't see that very often at all.
Just wait. We had Do You Poo. Now we're gonna get Do You Fables.
Could be, right? Do You Fables, but Do You Poo sounds funnier. It makes me laugh. Sorry, a lot of poop jokes this weekend with my daughter. She did come up with a song called "I Like to Fart" or "I Love to Fart."
You told me.
I sent that. Yeah, it's really good. Anyways, that there wraps up the news. We got a lot to go over today, and again, we all have bedtimes. Chris is about to fall asleep, but he will wake up. I promise. We got props or flops coming up. You know that. But before we get into it, we're gonna have Ask Joe. But before we get into that, we're going to have a new segment that we're going to be doing that we'll share with you soon. But why don't we just say hello to people like Dan Thornton, Goonish Lurker, Josh's Comics. He'll make an appearance. Not in that cut. Never mind. We got Raising Elm. We got D&T Comics and Collectibles. I have to spit something. Keep going, Joe.
All right. Okay. We got okay, there we go.
We got Pete Keel, KJ Height. You're going to be seeing some props or flops action. No doubt about that. Dan De La Torre warned us. He warns us about Gunn. I don't know why. Because the DCU is kind of wrapping up. So I'm not sure what you warned us in that regards. But yes, you did warn us. We got Raising Elm Comics. This is worth bringing up, by the way. I don't think even he was out to make bad art. I don't even think he was self-aware enough. But The Room, if y'all want to watch it. And what was the James Franco film?
Disaster Artist.
Oh, it's so good. So good. Who else do we have in the house today? Raw Dog Comics. We got Mark Leneker. We got Fapton America. Phil Ailing. Hello. Spider Dude 71. Spider Dude Comics. A sponsor on Fresh from the Comic Shop. We got Dr. Plagueis in the house. Who else do we have? Pope of Chili Town. Right there is in the house. Yes, he is our secret guest. It was awesome. We got Bond. Paul Bond. I did that on purpose to just give the dramatic effect right here. We got 360 Comics. And do you all think that this is true or false? Let us know in the comments below. Fun show. So glad you guys are spending time with us right now. Because should we intro the new segment? That's what we'll do real quick.
Yeah. So I just want to give a shout out real quick to Dr. Plagueis, because I think Dr. Plagueis was the one that initially kind of planted this idea in my head. He asked a few weeks ago during Fresh from the Comic Shop, can I submit a video of, getting a book at the comic shop? And that got me thinking, we do audience submitted pictures for Fresh from the Comic Shop. We could do a segment of you actually ready for it on the hunt. Oh,
yeah, man. Now I am.
There we go. Actually on the hunt. So we're calling this segment On the Hunt. And we encourage you to send us a video clip. Please keep it short, 30 seconds, maybe a minute if you need to be, of you on the hunt at a local comic shop, at a convention, at a flea market, at a yard sale, whatever it may be, finding books in the wild. You don't have to be in the video. You can just, take the video, or you can be in it if you want to. We don't care. If you want to put your face on the internet, go for it. If you don't, then don't. But we want some videos of you all on the hunt. and we'd love for you to share, your experience with that. So I actually went to a con this morning, as did Pope Chili Town, Josh's Comics. A couple of us were there. We all met up and went hunting, and it was a dollar bin sale. Very cool. Everything was $1, and we were all digging, and not just us. There were probably, I'd assume there were probably at least a couple hundred people in and out throughout the day. Yeah. Hunting for comic books in these dollar bins, digging. And that's the kind of content that we want from you. We want to see you on the hunt. Jeff, do you want to roll the clip?
Roll the video. The perfect example what On the Hunt is all about.
Greetings, Canaanites, Cannoneers, and Cannonians. I don't know about that last one. But anyway, we are here at the Chud Comic Show in South Jersey. It is a completely dollar bin sale. So every single book in there is $1 or less, and there's some great fill-a-box and bundle deals. Let's go see what we got going on. Everything, $1. Huge room. Oh, look, we got Josh in the house. All right, we are on the hunt here in South Jersey. Tons of people in here. We gotta find a spot where we can get in. Go right here. This box was a pretty decent one. Right off the bat, we hit Justice League number 69, part of the Doomsday story. It's the third printing, definitely a little bit harder to find. And then this right here, a book that I've been picking up tons of copies of, the first appearance of Dust. I almost passed by this one, but we got Superman, Death of Superman. That's the fourth printing with the green logo at the top. And then a recent book, but a pretty cool homage cover, Todd McFarlane. That's Batman 126.
That's good stuff, man, right there. And again, that's a great example of On the Hunt. We'll get to your guys' experience today, Pope and Joe. But this is not going to be like Fresh in the Comic Shop where every entry gets, or everybody gets an entry. This is a little bit different. In some circumstances, we could possibly edit for you, but it takes some time. And if you send something that is edited, make sure there is no licensed music, such as things that you'll hear on the radio, those types of things. We'll have more with that in a as we develop this idea further. It's a great idea. And also, this is an AI generated poster for On the Hunt. We are going to eventually put the three of our faces on there, maybe the Pope. I don't know. But for real though, this is literally an AI generated poster. I love it. So what more do you have to say about On the Hunt today?
Yeah, so I think this is a really cool idea to show off your stuff in a different way. Actually in the process of hunting for comics. Again, please keep it, just like Jeff said, to nothing that's going to be a copyright issue. Keep it to 30 seconds, maybe a minute at most. And I edited mine. You notice there was like a little bit of shift there. There were a couple different videos put together. You don't necessarily have to do that. If you want to just take one video and submit it, go ahead and submit it. Jeff, how are we accepting this? Are they sending it to Instagram? Are they sending it to email?
They DM us this video, which I think they can. We can rip it off of that way.
So
that's probably
actually that's great, because I think you can only send up to a minute-long video on Instagram, so that will keep you all in check.
Yes.
And you got to keep it short. So there you go. Send your video to Comic Book Canon Instagram. You don't have to post it. You don't have to use the hashtag, Josh. If you want to, you certainly can.
It's your property. At the end of the day, it is your property, but you're allowing us to show it on the show. So yeah.
Cool.
Anyway.
That's all I gotta say. I was on the hunt today, and we found some cool books, which will are we gonna do something else real quick first?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, again, yes, we're gonna do right now. We're gonna do a segment. We are switching it up. We are going to do a segment called
Wait.
Oh,
I just want to let everyone know that we're going to come back to that on the hunt, because Mike and we found some cool stuff this morning. We do want to show some of it off, but due to time constraints and the just absolute importance of Chris just being constantly, pulled from all angles, being such a sought after dude, we got to get this done first so he can go do his other obligations. Because I think what I heard was the Spanish Prime Minister was having you over for dinner, right?
Yeah. It's, it's pretty serious, guys.
That is,
Yeah,
yeah,
I got my
absolutely.
secret agent entourage ready as well. So
Make sure you have the good silverware this time, because you
yeah.
offended the prime minister from, what was it, Turkey or something like that, with
Yeah.
plastic silverware, and the good stuff was laying right out in front. That's terrible. It's right there. Just put it on a table, Chris. All right, what do we got? We got props or flops. That's right. You guys are submitting your fresh gats, your old gats, your whatever questions about books that you have for investment purposes. That's right. Upload any comics to Instagram. Use the hashtag props or flops. But guys, the three of y'all know how horrible hashtags are on Instagram. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, so make sure to tag Journos Comics, 360 Comics, Comic Book Canon, tag the picture, the photo, whatever you want to call it, the image, because if you tag us in the description, we probably won't see it. Tell us why this book interests you. Tell us how much you paid for it. And Chris will break it down live on the show. So, Chris, we got 2 books this week.
Yeah.
2, by the way.
Yeah, we got 2 books. Let's start off with our good friend Ken, who's been keeping the segment alive. So we got this awesome Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 120. He says that this is Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 120 for Batman Day, which was this week. Only paid $10 for it. It's definitely near mint plus condition. First appearance of Cassandra Cain as Batgirl. So, okay, well, let's look at this book. First off, I love the Legends of the Dark Knight run. I've read some of the early books. So has my son. He's really enjoyed it as well. I have almost a full run of like 1 through 80. A good fun run to collect if you want to enjoy some Batman stories. It's, you pay $10 for the book. Let's look at what this book's been doing on the market. I mean, in a high grade raw, currently this book is roughly a $15 to $20 book on average. And it's held that. There hasn't been any crazy ups and downs, in the market over the last few years, obviously with COVID and with what's been going down right now. I mean, I've been continuing to do further research, been in many conversations, looking at the state of the market and, roughly seeing key books, raw books, graded books, whatever, be anywhere from 45% on average down from their quote unquote COVID peaks. This book hasn't really done that. It never extremely peaked and then came down. There is a $20 sticker on this book, I see, but he says he only paid $10 for it, so maybe there was a sale or something like that. So props or flops for the $10. I'm definitely going to give this book a props, but I'm going to add some context, as I always like to do. I think this book is a props because, one, you bought it under current fair market value average right now in that grade. You could probably list this on eBay right now or go try to sell it and make $5 on it. Another pro why I'm giving it props is because, like I said, this was not a book that bubbled up and came back down over the last few years. It's held its ground. There's no real speculation around it. It has the intrinsic value of a character's first appearance. If the DCU ever does what it does and we get a Cassandra Cain Batgirl, whatever, then that could change. You could sell it for a flip and make even more money off of it. Long-term investment, again, not a book that's ever going to be a huge value book. Early 90s book. It's just not going to be something that we could sit and say it's going to be a freaking Apple or Amazon stock. But it doesn't mean that long-term you still can't hold it and make a little more money off of it. So setting expectations. This isn't a book that you should FOMO out on and go try to, buy and flip to get rich, et cetera, et cetera. But for buying this book at $10 right now, I think it's a win-win that if you sell it tomorrow, if you sell it a year from now, if you sell it 10 years from now, you can make some money off of this book. So Ken, I give you props.
We got props from Chris. Mike.
Yeah, I agree with everything Chris just said. I would say props. There's nothing kind of happening with that character right now, and not even just in movies, but even in comics. Like she's a popular enough character and a beloved character, but there's just, lightning's going to need to strike for that book to sort of become like a 10x or something, right? So you just have to wait for the lightning to strike, I guess. But if you decide to flip it at some point, like you said, you'll make money, and it's a props, and that's kind of.
Joseph.
Yeah, like they said, you bought it at a price where you could sell it now to gain a small profit. And, going forward, there certainly is potential. This is a character that wasn't, a flash in the pan or anything like that. She had her own Batgirl run, I guess that's volume 2 of Batgirl. That's her, I think. I'm not
in the 2000s, right?
Yeah. She's also has familial relations to Lady Shiva is her mom. Am I remembering that correctly? Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, and it's a different character. But I think her mom's Lady Shiva, who's fairly well-known character. Just like everyone said, this isn't a book that's going to be, raw copies aren't ever going to be $200. But I could see a raw copy being $50 and, a couple hundred for a 9.8 if the right magic happens. She's the James Gunn Batgirl. They utilize Barbara Gordon as Oracle instead or something like that. There's a lot of ways this character could come about being introduced. And we also do have the Matt Reeves universe that might use a different Batgirl than the main DC extended universe, or what do they call it now? DC, just the DC universe. That being said, it's props, easy.
Ken, I'm going to give it a props too. It's like a mild props, but she's definitely not a flash in the pan. I believe she was the Batgirl in this series. It was 75 issues.
Oh yeah, it's a long run. 2000.
That is a long run, no doubt about that. That's over 5 years. So, and you don't see that much today either with runs like that. Granted, it was the early 2000s, but yeah, I'll give that a props too. I mean, again, you're not gonna flip it and make crazy amounts of cash to be able to get one of your you like the mild props. That's what I'm thinking. You're not going to flip it and be able to get your grail or anything like that. But again, it's when you make money, it's always doing better. So 100%. Chris, so I guess it's props all around on that one. Christopher, let's see if we have props all around on our second one here.
We'll see, man. This one comes in from a good friend of the channel, Collector Without Fear. We got some War Machine action. Iron Man issue 282. So let's read what Collector Without Fear wrote here. Props or flops time. Iron Man issue 282. There's a lot of confusion with this book. I love how he breaks this down too, because
so good. Yeah.
He's very accurate and factual with this, and everyone watching and listening, there's so much that matters with context, and I want you guys to pay attention here. All right, he goes on to say, there's a lot of confusion with this book as a lot of people mistakenly refer to it as the first appearance of War Machine, even CGC. It's actually the first cover appearance of the War Machine armor worn by Tony Stark. The armor fully appeared for the first time in the previous issue. Rhodey dons the armor a few issues later, and then first uses the War Machine moniker, the name, in West Coast Avengers 94. But it's a key, nonetheless, and certainly an iconic cover. Yes, it is. I picked this book up for only $70. I've examined every square inch of this book, cover to cover, and it is every bit a 9.6, quite possibly a 9.8. It is pristine. While it's definitely a PC book, it's always nice to have value in the collection rather than being upside down on a book. And with Armor Wars still coming, hopefully this decade, I think this book only climbs in value. Not only that, but with CGC calling it the first full appearance of War Machine, even though it's not, that also drives the market price on the book up, because unfortunately there are collectors out there who don't necessarily know the full details, like its actual key significance. All right, well said, well said. Okay, before we look at this, the sales numbers on this book, and I give it a props for flops, I want to add context to labels. Okay, there's always this conversation that says, well, this is the first full appearance. No, it's a cameo. No, it's full. And then somebody jumps in and says, let the market decide. I've talked about this before. No, the market never decides. The market doesn't. You don't go to a farmer's market and have a booth of apples and pears, and the pears, are the hot item. Apples used to be the hot item, but then the pears become the hot item because somebody mistakenly thought that they were apples, right? And then you just, the market decided, I guess they're apples. No, the pear is a pear. Right? Okay, maybe not the best analogy, but the point that I'm making here is
it's a good analogy.
Okay, yeah, criteria defines labels. Definitions define labels, not the market. But now let me explain how this can be confusing for a search situation like this. The label has been defining what the market does and how the market reacts to the book. It doesn't mean that the market is, or the label is correct. Let's go back to the, tales as old as time argument of Hulk 180 and 181. The reason why Hulk 181 was decided to be the more valuable book on the market is because people saw this new character on the cover and went after it. Because the cameo at the end, the one page of Wolverine at the end of that book when it came out, wasn't enough. They were like, who is this new character on this cover that's in the whole story of this 181 issue? That's what drove the price up. Now, with that being said, if a book is labeled a certain way, it absolutely can influence the market. Because sometimes, like Collector Without Fear, they don't educate themselves to what's in the book. And that can happen more nowadays. Because back in 1974, right, we didn't have Key Collector or Cover Price or the internet or YouTubers or anybody telling us what the first and full or cameo and all this stuff really was. So we decided on ourselves by picking up the books and then talking amongst friends. That's different today. So it very easily can get taken out of context to where the value of this book is because this label that is inaccurate has been slapped on this book for a very long time and it's just stuck. All right. I wanted to make that clear. Now, before I go into breaking down the market, do you guys want to just kind of drop any opinions on just that state of things?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with a lot of what you say. Basically the market can't possibly dictate what is the content of the comic books. What someone might say, what someone might buy does not change what is inside the books. There might be a slight change in phrasing depending on who you ask, but the contents of the book is the same. The market will, though, decide what is the most important key issue for a character. And despite this not actually being Rhodey inside the costume, it is the most important War Machine book, just like X-Men 266, Gambit's second appearance, is the most important Gambit book. The first cameo of Bishop, also first cover appearance, is the more expensive of the two Bishop books, so on and so forth. That being said, this book is actually even more expensive than Rhodey's first appearance.
That's crazy.
Which was what, not quite 2 decades, a decade and a half, 15 years before. So you're talking about this book from the early 90s versus a book from the late 70s. Right. Crazy that's the case. Now that's the case with raw copies. Obviously, when you get a 9/8 book from the late 70s, it's quite expensive and more than the but I'm talking about like just a high grade raw copy of each. The War Machine is worth more. It's nuts. But yeah, anyway, Chris, go on to your props or flops, or if anyone else wants to chime in, Mike, Jeff, go ahead.
Actually, I talked about this a little bit last week on my thing, and my next show is going to go into some more aspects of it, so I'm not going to talk a ton about it here. But regarding this book, I'll just say, like, I talk a lot on my show about what I say is the cover always wins. And this is like the perfect example of that, because Collector Without Fear is exactly right. You know, this is Tony in the armor. So Tony in this armor is Iron Man. Rhodey in this armor is War Machine. And this is a full 2 issues before, you know, really the first appearance of War Machine. But it's got a badass cover, and the cover of 284 is terrible. If this was the cover of 284, that would be the book all day long. But this is just like you said, Joe. This is always going to be the book for War Machine. I think having the War Machine sort of graffiti over the title doesn't hurt either. Yeah. But it's just, you know, the cover wins on this one, period.
I agree. I like everything you said about that, Mike, especially the emphasis on the cover. But Chris, let's get to the breakdown here.
Yeah. And I just want to say too, with what Mike just said, is that, again, what drove this book is the inherent properties. And that's like the cover always wins. Well, I'll use Joe bringing up the Bishop example. Bishop's cameo, first cameo, is worth more than his first full, because in the cameo, he's on the cover for the first time. Hence, 181, Hulk 181. So again, it's like, you know, we forget that we value things about comic books that are inherent to the pages of the book. We don't just, magically create labels and then decide, oh, well, that's why I'll spend more money on this. But again, in this day and age, because everyone is so reactionary and just wants to listen to a YouTuber or listen to what Key Collector or what CGC says. And again, not knocking them. I'm not saying it as a negative thing to them, but you know, well, they say that this is this. It must mean that I need to react in this manner, right? So anyways, all great input there. So yeah, let's get into the values of this book. So remember, he said he bought this for $70, and he definitely thinks it's a near mint plus. You know, 9.6 all day, could possibly be a 9.8. So I'm going to break this down. For right now, you looking at Raws, near mint plus ranges. And again, when you look at Raws, this is what the sellers on eBay or My Comic Shop, or wherever they're selling them from, note these comics to be. But if you got a comic book seller saying that it's, you know, near mint plus, please, I hope that they're accurate. Right now, average range for a near mint plus raw is about $100. The book in a near mint plus raw was averaging about $200 during the COVID peak. Now, in the near mint range, which is, you know, anywhere from 9.0 to 9.4, it's averaging about $70, right where what he paid for it. So, you know, and again, subjectivity of grading. Closer to around 140 during the COVID peak for that near mint range. So in the raw values, we see that they are trending at about 50% less than where they were at their peak. Now let's look at graded. Let's say if he sends his book in to get graded and it comes back a 9.6. 9.6 graded average right now is about 140. COVID peak, it was about 300. Again, roughly, you know, 50%, a little over 50%. Say he gets it pressed and clean and he sends it in and it comes back a 9.8. Right now, a 9.8 is averaging around 300. COVID peak, 650. So a little more than 50% drop on that. So it's all very similar. The drops from the COVID peak are similar for the raws, for the grade range, for the graded books and for each grade range. Now, if you think about that, if he did send it in and got it graded, spent about $30 on top of his $70, and was able to sell it for $140, right now he's still making money. If he got a 9.8, spent an extra, I don't know, $25 to press it, clean it on top of the 30, and spend a little over $100, sells it for $300, he's making even more money. And if he really does believe that it's in the near mint plus range, maybe next week he could sell it for $100 or $90 and get a little money in his pocket. So this should be an easy props, right? I mean, even just looking at him being able to flip it right now, possibly have more money in his pocket. Well, not so fast. I'm a little weary of this book because of its trend. Again, it's an early 90s book, so there's plenty of them out there. And with the way the market's doing right now, and with seemingly the delays in Armor Wars and what's going on, this book can continue to drop some. So the question that I got to ask long term is, does this book have staying power, even if it drops past that $70 mark that he paid for it, in 5 years from now, for him to be able to see a positive return on investment? I'm going to say yes, and for that reason, I'm giving it a props. And the reason why I say yes is because of this. Just like what we talked about before, this book, because of its cover primarily and what it is, not because of the label that CGC or anybody wants to give it, this book means something to the War Machine character. And the War Machine character was already an awesome character before we saw Don Cheadle portray him in the MCU. Don Cheadle is an amazing actor. His portrayal as War Machine has been great, and he is coming back. And while I'm always very hesitant to talk about movie hype these days, and I always try to tell you guys to educate yourself and chill out on the FOMO and the socio-cultural acceptance of how we respond to the me, now mentality, I also have to acknowledge the fact that pop culture and is going to be here for a very long time. I think I was just talking about this last week. These movies, just like, and I use Star Wars as the example, we raise our kids. I remember when they were doing the prequels in the movies again. It was like, what, 2012? Or I don't know, somewhere like the 15th anniversary of Phantom Menace. And I went and took my son, and it was the first ever movie in the theater, Star Wars movie that I took my son to, and I was so happy, and I posted on Facebook, taking my son to the movies to see Star Wars like my father did before me. Right? That's gonna be, can you imagine, like, we're gonna be taking our kids or even not even us, our kids that grew up going and seeing Endgame and Infinity War in the movie theaters when they were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever. When they grow up and have kids and we get that 30-year anniversary of Endgame or whatever, and they're taking their kids to the movie theater and like, man, when they're freaking sitting there saying the same thing, saying this is an amazing experience that I get to have with my children, because these movies are going to be here and they're going to be ingrained in pop culture. And I think that this character is going to continue not only the intrinsic values and properties of what this book is to us as comic collectors. I do think that Don Cheadle's character is also going to continue to have a future in the MCU, and that character has already sustained himself as a pop culture icon in the MCU. Therefore, no matter what happens, even though I think I'm a little worried about, coming the next coming year or so, what the market's going to do, that this book can drop a little bit more, I absolutely think that in 5 years from now, and again, it's a modern book, there's plenty out there, but I think this book is going to continue to increase in value 5, 10 plus years from now.
Mike.
Yeah, again, agree. I think it in general to props. I think this book is going to have staying power. Just like, I agree with basically everything Chris said. I think if you bought this for the purpose of flipping, I would just say, if you're going to CGC it, whatever, just have it ready for a War Machine trailer to drop, and it's going to go through its cycle of FOMO again at that time, and it's going to shoot up, and that's a great time to sell it if that's why you got it. But I think this is a book that everybody kind of wants in their PC if they're a Marvel fan or something, and I think you got it at a decent price, and it's going to do well.
Agreed. Joe.
Yep. What they said. This is a character who has been around in the MCU in one form or another since the very first movie. Back when it was Terrence Howard for a film. That being said, whether he gets killed off in the MCU or he continues in, a supporting role, the character's made his mark already. This isn't a flash in the pan character by any means. Not in the comics, not in the movies, not in pop culture in general. People are going to want this book. And yes, it is a 90s book, but it was also late in the run of a B-list character. It's not an Amazing Spider-Man book or an X-Men book from the 90s. And therefore, there are not as many of them as those books. First Carnage, what X-Men book would have come out around that time? First Jubilee or first Gambit. Now, obviously, Carnage and Gambit, way more popular characters. So those books are worth quite a bit more, even though there's more of them. But yeah, I mean, it's a good book, especially if you have a high grade for modern stuff, 9.6, 9.8 possible. Those are going to hold value the best and gain value the most. So that being said, it's a props for me. Even if we do see a dip in the short term, I think that in the long term, we will see an increase, almost certainly.
They should say that the Skrull took over Rhodey between Iron Man 1 and 2, and that he was just a really bad Skrull.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. But yeah, again, he's already made his mark in cinema and obviously in the comic book. So $70, you're getting that pretty much at a 30% reduced rate. Is that the appropriate way to say it? I don't know. You're purchasing 30% off, below fair market value from what you believe it is. The Collector Without Fear, I think that's a win. Props all day long. Right there. That ends props or flops. Once again, Chris, explain how this works.
Yeah, guys, again, keep on uploading any comic book to IG. Remember, it doesn't need to be a comic book that you purchase. It could be a stock image of a comic you're thinking about purchasing. We want to break it down for investment purposes. Use the hashtag props or flops, and remember, hashtags suck. So always tag us, tag me, please. Send it to my DM if you need to, and we'll break it down. Again, please try to include as much content as possible. What you paid for it, what they're asking for, that all matters. What grade you think it is, if you had it graded, if it's a graded book, etc., etc. And we'll keep breaking them down.
Excellent job as always, Christopher. And I think now, yes, you do have to get ready for the Prime Minister of Japan.
I do. But I do want to let everyone know, I'm rocking the custom Spider Dude Star Wars hat here.
What?
So yeah, guys, I just put in an order. I took advantage of the free shipping. I put in an order. I think it was last night. I don't remember. I'm brain dead. But I got an awesome Silver Age book coming in the mail. I can't wait to do an unboxing for that from Spider Dude Comics. Their link is below, right, guys? Because
yes, it is.
We know that they work with EGS for Fresh from the Comic Shop segment coming up. But guys, today is the last day to take advantage of their free shipping. So if you guys have time tonight, go check them out. Use the code SHIPPED to get free shipping. They also have their 25% off quick ads. There's modern books, Bronze Age books, Minor Key, Silver Age books, all that you can get 25% off of. And if you use the code JOURNOS10, you can get 10% off on top of it. So you can save a total of 35% plus free shipping. But remember, free shipping ends tonight. So go check them out. And Yeah.
We encourage you all every week to check out Spider Dude Comics because they are a sponsor of Fresh from the Comic Shop. We'll get to that in a bit. Christopher, as always, fantastic hanging out with you. We'll probably be with you again next week. But before we move on to our next thing, we're going to move on to Chet's segment. He does each and every week with new comic book day. Here are his 3 picks of the week. He's still in Nashville.
What is up, my loyal minions? It's Chet G-Pot, your one and only comic book influencer, here to give you my picks for New Comic Book Day on Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. First up, Green Lantern, War Journal number 1, focusing on John Stewart by Jeffrey Thorne and Tom Rainey. Another Green Lantern series, you say, well, who can resist the allure of the Emerald Light? Thorne's storytelling promises intrigue, and Rainey's art is like a visual feast for our eyeballs. It's practically irresistible. Next, we've got Rare Flavors number 1 by G. Willow Wilson, Ram V, and an assortment of talented artists. It's an anthology, because variety is the spice of life, right? With these creative minds at the helm, it's bound to be a delightful roller coaster of stories. Last but not least, Captain America number 1 by Aaron Cooter and Matt Fraction. Captain America gets a fresh start, and who can say no to that? Cooter's art is practically poetry in motion and fraction. Well, let's just say it's worth checking out. So there you have it, my adoring minions. My 3 picks for New Comic Book Day. Go ahead, pick them up on Wednesday, September 20th, if you want to avoid being labeled a complete loser. But hey, who am I to judge? I'm exhausted. Time to crack open a grape soda and kick my legs back. Ciao!
Ciao!
Yeah, AI is it's an imperfect perfection, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but he got the creative team wrong for Captain America.
Yeah,
that's okay. I'm looking forward to that Green Lantern series, though. John Stewart, that looks quite interesting, I have to say, and I'm enjoying the current run. So here we are, guys. Again, let's just remind everybody the new segment on the hunt. We kind of split things up again. Not the best debut of a segment, but it's a great segment on the hunt. What did you guys get from your hunt? Was it today, guys?
Yeah, it was this morning. I've had a very long weekend. I can't wait to sleep. This morning, this is an event called Chud, and it is a massive dollar bin sale. It is run by this guy Bill, who owns a South Jersey store called Frankenstein Comics. And it's not just his stuff, but also other vendors, mostly comic shops and a couple of comic dealers there as well. Place to get rid of bulk, dollar bin stuff, and stuff that's just been sitting for a while that you don't mind selling for just $1. And I got some pretty cool stuff. I got my 5 best sitting over here, and I know Mike has his best aside to show you all today.
Well, Mike's a guest. He's taking time out of his day to replace Chris, who asked him, and Chris mentioned that he will be a household name. So, Mike, show us what you got.
Sure. I actually picked up a whole short box, and most of it from a local place called, they're on IG at NJ Comic Stop. They do some great stuff. But
by the way, I want to interject. This does not count as you're fresh from the comic shop. Am I correct in saying that? Okay, here we go.
Right, yeah. So all this stuff was $1. And here's the best of the best that I think was in that box. So there was just not a key, but nice condition, 15 center Nick Fury Agent of Shield, $1.
Why not?
ROM 32, 4th appearance of Rogue. First print of Stray Bullets #1, a great indie series. You guys are familiar with that? A book that kind of surprises people a little bit. So Punisher Armory #1. This sells raw, like kind of $10 to $15, but it's a book that I call a sneaky 9.8. I think because it has a Jim Lee cover. One of these just sold actually like last week in a 9.8 for about $125. Second appearance of Cloak and Dagger. Again, all these were $1. And now like the best of the best, single digit Doctor Strange #9. It's also a key, Origin of Clea, and this is high grade. This is like a $30 book. Not high grade, but still probably 10 to 15 bucks in this condition. Strange Adventures number 215, Neil Adams, and it's a double first appearance.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Wait, can you bring that one up again real quick? Is it what's going on in the corner up there?
Yeah, like I said, it has problems.
Okay.
So it's missing some pieces, but still, this is like in high grade, this is like a $200 book.
Yeah. Okay.
So in this grade, it's like $10 probably.
Sure. And you got it for $1.
And then the last two, the first one is probably like the highest value, I guess, of the biggest key in the stack. Giant Size Defenders number 3, first appearance of Korvac. This is
wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's in like the high end of low grade. Like it's all complete and everything and together. It's got some creases and things, but still, that's a great book for $1. And then this last book is just kind of a weirdo book. And it's like, if you know me, this is the kind of stuff that like I love to find. It's in super high grade. The Uncanny X-Men at the State Fair of Texas. This was a promo book that was inside the Dallas Times Herald. So this came with inside a newspaper. And obviously you can only get it in Dallas. So it's not a super hard book to find. It's like 10 or 15 bucks, but to pull it high grade out of a dollar bin.
Yeah, that's a win. No doubt about that.
So it's fun day.
No doubt about that. By the way, I do want to mention Josh will be dropping his video haul tomorrow. So please pay attention. Pay attention to that. Josh's Comics 01 on the Instagram. I'm sure Josh will have a link. Joseph, what'd you get there, buddy?
I got some cool stuff. Kick it off with a couple of keys. This one, always great to find. Modern Green Lantern book. We got Green Lantern 39. This is the first appearance of Larfleeze, the Yellow Lantern. And, I have to think we're getting
orange, son.
He's orange, yeah. Larfleeze is orange.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said yellow. But you know what?
I said yellow? I'm sorry.
You're colorblind.
Obviously orange.
Yeah.
First appearance of Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern. I have to think that they're probably going to expand on that universe.
Yes.
Sure.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it makes sense to do just how popular Blackest Night is as a run of comics and stuff like that. And it just, and this is part of that run. This is one of the offshoot books. In fact, it says Blackest Night along here. So it's part of that storyline. I think that's a great book to be picking up now, especially if you're a fan of Green Lantern. Next one, Thor 365, first appearance of the Throg character, the Thor as a frog. Yeah. And a lot of people, saw this character, the brief little cameo appearance in Loki season 1. But the character of Throg has been utilized plenty in the comics and is even a member of the Pet Avengers. Mm-hmm. So it's not just some flash in the pan book from the mid 80s. The character has persisted a little bit and is now more widely known after the appearance in the Loki television show. The next one is really, really cool. Very excited to find this. Anytime, in my opinion, this is my opinion, and you don't have to agree with this. Anytime you can find a book signed by a creator, then it's worth more than $1. Just because you'd have to, even the creators that sign all the time, James Tynion and stuff like that, I'd still pay more than $1 for a book signed by James Tynion. This one just happens to be signed by an absolute legend who is no longer with us. So you can't get this signature anymore. This is Futurians #1, signed by Dave Cockrum. Very freaking cool. It's one of his, I actually am not super aware of this, but an indie book that was created by Dave Cockrum, and boom, signed right up there, gold ink. Love it. I was very happy to find that.
That's incredible. Wow.
And then the last two that I have, there were multiple copies of. So let's just pull them all out at once. Is this a good find for $1? You tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. This is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, issue number 3. It's the first cover appearance of Darth Maul. Now, the other cover is the better one. The other cover is the more sought after one. That's the one that is a drawn cover of Darth Maul. This one is a photo cover, still a sought after book. People love Darth Maul, super popular character, and one that has come back full circle at this point in not just the animated, but now in the live action as well. And this last book is insane.
And wow, there's one. Those books are all.
There's a much better book than what I showed you so far. This is one that if you don't know this book, if you're not in the know, you might think this is just some random dollar bin indie book. This is Cyberfrog issue 0, specifically the Art Adams variant. And if you look on eBay, I looked at sold listings on eBay today. By the way, there's 7 of them. The sold listings on eBay, there were 5 recent sales, all between $40 and $100.
Jesus.
These were $1 each, 7 copies. So even if I sell at the low end of that, $40, 40 times 7, we're talking $280. I spent $7 on this.
That's incredible.
So,
that is absolutely incredible. What a great pickup.
Insane. And they're just sitting there. I was like, that's a good deal. And the crazy thing is, the dealer who I bought them from, he knew what this book was, and he was just like, I just want them gone. And a few months ago, in fact, one of the last events at this location, I think it was the last time there was an event at this location, he had more copies of this. He was selling them for $5 at that time, and I bought I think 7 or 8 of them for $5. And then there were more for $1 a piece. I couldn't believe it.
That's massive frog haul today. Joe.
Massive frog. Oh yeah, we got Frog and Cyberfrog.
That's a big deal. Big deal for frogs today. Congratulations on those pickups. That right there is kind of the 2-part on the hunt. We'll go over that a little bit more. Maybe this week we'll give some better instructions. But again, y'all can send us video for On the Hunt. Send us DM it to us through the Instagram. No need for a hashtag or anything like that. We cannot promise everybody will get On the Hunt. We'll do our best. But share it with us and we'll share it with the audience here. Moving on here, guys. Moving on. We are going to do our last segment of the day. Feels like it's been a long episode, but you guys have been at it for the weekend here. I've been at it as well. My daughter, we went on a mall scavenger hunt this past yesterday. Actually, it was quite fun. She did very well for herself.
Now, question: did you have to reach into the coin fountain at the mall and scoop out change and then buy a soft pretzel with it? Because
that would have been amazing.
When my group of friends in high school, we made a scavenger hunt. As soon as a couple of us had driver's license and we could have enough people to drive the teams around, that was my contribution. Everyone that was I think we had about 20 people. We all came up with a one task, and that was my task.
That's brilliant. You had to buy the pretzel too, right?
You had to buy because the soft pretzel stand was directly next to.
So you're scrounging for change.
So you scoop it up and you walk 3 feet, and you're like, "Hi, I'd like one soft pretzel, please." Yeah, and everything had to be videotaped in order.
Oh my god!
So yeah, it was.
That is outstanding. I would not do that to a 7-year-old, but a 17-year-old, yes.
Yeah.
Moving on though, that is great. That is absolutely great. That's legendary. All right, moving on. We do this segment each and every week. We ramble on. I pretend to forget. I can't remember what the title is. Joe, what's the title? I don't even know.
The title of this monumental segment,
the most popular comic book show on YouTube, with the most popular segment of the show
in the entire universe.
In the universe,
which has changed the trajectory of history forever and ever.
Look
Amen.
At this look right here. Look at this. Look.
But yeah,
that's saying you guys are so full of yourself. Just let's keep moving it along here. I have to go to sleep. That's
It's
what
called
saying.
Fresh from the Comic Shop. Just fresh from the comic. Put it up. Just put it up.
Fly from the pressing salon. That's right. We ask you all each and every week to send us in your fresh gets, and you never disappoint. Mainly because you can win a monthly book from EGS and Spider Dude Comics. We'll get to that in a hot second. But these fresh gets, they could be 2 days old. They could be 30 years old. If they're fresh in your collection, we want to see them. Upload it to Instagram. Use the hashtag FFTCS. But as you all know, hashtags are broken, but keep trying to use those. Tag us in the picture. Do not tag us in the description. The picture, the image, the photo, whatever you want to call it, tag us there and we will definitely see it. 360, Journos, Comic Book Canon, tag all of us if you have to. We want to see those fresh gets. And again, you can win a monthly book that is slabbed by EGS that comes from Spider Dude Comics. That's right. And this month is a doozy. Look at that, beautiful Darth Vader, black, white, and red peach Momoka #1. And with EGS, as you can see, you get those amazing customized labels. You get fast turnaround times and graders notes. They are the best on the market. And on top of that, Tony is part of the industry, or part of the community. He is a small business owner, and they put out a great product. We would not be pumping this product if we did not believe in it. We just urge you all to check us out. Not only that, checking them out. Oh, there it is. Yes, by checking them out and using Canon 5 on your order, you get 5% off your order. Again, optional custom labels, free grader notes, fast turnaround times, and their proprietary case that I think we've all agreed on is better than CGC and CBCS. I don't know. I'm losing it, guys. I am absolutely losing it. Now, in terms of what you should think for in the criteria for said, excuse me, I just burped. By the way, I don't have my show notes up. How dare I? Let me get that up. But the criteria is take a well-composed shot, right? Make it look good, well-composed, have some great lighting, have the picture tie into the actual book, get creative with it, think outside the box. Joe, I can't see what you're doing, but if you're doing something funny, I would be laughing probably that you normally do. Second criteria here is give us, a unique book. A unique book, Mike, does not have to be $30,000, right? It doesn't. No, it could be something that, yeah, exactly. This is a great example of a unique book. Put that up again. Put that up. Not many people heard about this, but this was in some sort of Dallas newspaper, I do believe. And you got it for $1. That is unique indeed. And unique, Joe is unique as well. And when we love him for that. Also, pull at our heartstrings, right? Tug at our heartstrings. Tell us what this book means to you. Give us a good story. Does it remind you of a family member? Does it remind you of the first book you ever got but got washed away in a flood? You finally collected it, or you saved enough money as an adult to buy it back. Let us know what that means to you. Those go a long way. Absolutely. So, Mike, you are our surprise guest, but you also have responsibilities that you probably tried to get out of. You need to pick a semifinalist for this evening with these books, while also showing off your fresh gets, which you kind of did.
And I told you I'm excited. I got something special for you guys later at the end. I'm not going to disappoint. These clowns don't know what's going on. I said, trust me. I'm going to make this a great show.
I think I might know.
You better not be hyping this up. Honestly, you better not be hyping this up. We're all going to be mad. Even the 20 million people that are watching right now. So let's just get this started because I'm already getting angry. We got Bobzilla. Love the name. Guys, this right here is
wow.
Dead, right? So
winner.
We got some more to go through here, people. But as he says, 6 albums in 3 years. Homie, I can divide. I've been super busy lately, but happy belated birthday to the GOAT. Happy 50th solar return, and thank you for all of the years of art. Obviously to Nas, with the hip hop homage right there. You got the Hennessy in the background, and you got Nas, and it's just so good. I love how people connect right here. We had one a few weeks ago that was the X-Men from a San Diego Comic-Con. What was it? It was like an exclusive sneakers or something like that, where we got card. It was just incredible. It was absolutely incredible. That is really well done, Bobzilla. Well done indeed. Mike,
my favorite rapper. That's my favorite rapper ever. No,
he's fantastic. Did not know he was 50 though.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Really is.
First, I haven't gotten too much in the last couple of weeks. So I did find a couple things though, and I don't think I showed this on my show. So, cool book I found at a flea market. This is a 360 book all day, and that is this guy right here, Caliber Christmas.
Interesting.
Special #1 with the crow on the cover.
Claim.
This is actually the after the original miniseries. This is the next appearance of the Crow after Crow #4.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I'm not an aficionado of Caliber stuff. All I know is when I see Caliber, I always double check it. I never walk by it because I know there's some really sneaky, expensive books in there. So this one's not honest. It's not super pricey. It's probably like a $20, $30 book, maybe. But it's just not something you come across every day. And I got it at a flea market for a great price.
Good stuff right there. Great pickup. This is also a really great pickup too. That Paul Bond. That's good, Joe. That's very good. Actually,
that's a good one.
I think he's giving us just a bit of an update here. Update on my $2 pulp print proof flea market pickup. I bought it with I brought it with me to Baltimore Comic-Con and had it looked at by Heritage Comics and Comic Link, and both told me they believed it was an original cover proof from 1928. I was definitely happy to hear this, and I may get it framed and displayed now. I was given various estimates all over the place on the value, from $500 to as high as $2,500. He got it for $2, people. That's freaking awesome. I love that. Love that.
I actually walked around with him. We went to Baltimore Comic-Con together, and while Collecting Dude was off running around talking to every single person and their cousin, and Paul and I, we stuck together pretty much the entire day. We went to Heritage first, and then we were walking around after that, and we were walking by Comic Link. And for those of you who don't know, Comic Link, one of the heads of that company is a gentleman by the name of I'm blanking on his name right now. This is gonna kill me. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Wow, what is his name? I forget. Anyway, he is not only one of the lead guys at Comic Link, he also is the founder of CGC and the founder of CBCS.
Wow.
This guy knows his stuff. This guy is, and I can't, this is going to really bother me now. I'm going to open my Facebook and
he's watching. I mean,
Steve Borak. As soon as I picked up my phone, Steve Borak is his name. He is, like I said, he knows his stuff. Founded CGC, left the company, sold it, ended up founding CBCS, left that company, is now with Comic Link. So he's a reputable source.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm sure Paul was very happy to hear that. So
yeah.
But I'm sure you're happy to show off your first fresh get of the week. What do you have, sir?
Oh, what do we got? Let's see. Let's start off with this one. This one, this was like a little surprise in a collection. Local collector. I've actually sold some books to him, and some of the books that were in his collection that I bought were ones that he got from me and had my handwriting still on them. But yeah, he mentioned, he's in school right now. He wanted to just kind of downsize what he had, as far as just personal possessions in general. So he was ready to sell all of his comic books, just wanted to get rid of all his comic books, have some extra money, be able to move around a little bit more freely. And he wants to start collecting once he's done with school and stuff. And, I said, hey, I'll take them. He sent me not a list, but he listed off some of the bigger books that were in there. ASM 300, ASM 252, yada, yada, yada. And said it was 5 long boxes worth of stuff. And he was only asking, ended up paying him actually a little bit more. He was asking $300 to $400. I ended up giving him $420 because I just felt like it was some decent stuff. So threw a little bit extra there. And one of the things that was not mentioned was this book. And this is always great when you kind of get home and you're processing a collection and maybe you looked through it haphazardly or you didn't look through all of it and stuff like that. And you find something cool. But check this out. Avengers 16, classic cover, the Avengers Assemble cover with all of them in the background, Cap in the foreground, just so cool. And obviously a really early issue 16. This would have been 1965, probably.
That's a great book. Look at that.
Yeah, mid 60s, Silver Age, amazing cover. Yeah, Kirby goodness, of course.
That looks really nice too. Or is it just like the Mylar making?
No, it's the Mylar. I haven't taken it out yet. It does have a name, Steve something, written on the front. Oh, maybe it's Steve Rogers.
Gotta be.
I would put this thing at probably a 3 to a 3.5. It's not bad looking.
Yeah.
It's not falling apart or anything like that. It's a solid, complete, attached, low grade copy without any chunks missing. But yeah, I mean, it's always great when you get a collection home and you're pulling stuff apart and you're like, oh, whoa, didn't know this was in there.
Yeah. That's definitely a classic book right there. Love it, love it. Josh is calling it a big key. Moving on, we have Dr. Plagueis. Dr. Plagueis has a formula here. Dr. Plagueis definitely has a formula with their pick. And now Apocalypse. I had the pleasure of getting this book signed by the legendary Joe Rubenstein this year on my birthday. Even though I've been getting autographs from creators for years, I still get so starstruck and nervous when I meet these guys and gals. I feel bad for the awkward interactions I create. Come on, it's not that bad. I'm sure there are much worse than you. Absolutely. I mean, you watch our show, you have to be cool. So I'm going to show you my first fresh get of the week, guys. Mine are just newer books. I picked up literally today. It's been a busy week, but I got Darth Vader number 37 and 38. I'm going to share these. It's the Dark Droids. Again, Darth Vader covers never disappoint. And then you got I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but this is 37. I just showed through 38. You got Qui-Gon and Obi on there too. I don't know, maybe they go back. I don't know. I haven't read this. Anybody want to comment on that without giving away any spoilers? They probably have some flashbacks here, I would say.
Yeah, Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
In Sixth Sense? Are you serious?
No.
No, in Moonlighting.
Yeah, Moonlighting.
I knew that. I actually knew that. I 100% knew that. But thank you for clarifying that. I hope we didn't spoil that for anybody else right there. Moving on, we got Goonish Lurker. This is a fun one right here, people. And this is unique, a unique submission. We have two unique submissions. One of them is just like questionable. I don't know how we're gonna look at that one. Anyways, Goonish Lurker, what do we got? Every year, sacrifices must be made in order to fulfill the ritual of handmade Halloween card making. I gather horror-themed materials throughout the year so I can use them to craft unique cards for those who wish to live deliciously. I found a copy of the Monster Times number 24 from July of 1973 at Vision Comics and Oddities in a pretty poor condition, but that's the way I prefer them since I intend to cut it up and repurpose the art and content inside. I wanted to share this with you all because making Halloween cards is something I've been doing since October of 2016. It's my favorite holiday, and I've had to start the process earlier and earlier each year. Be on the lookout for previews of the finished process, and let me know if you'd like one of your own. That's super cool. Goonish Lurker does a lot of cool things for the community, for his friends, for comic books in general, and this is yet another example of that. That's unique. It's unique. It's a unique submission, so we have to take that into account. All right, Mike, what do you got? Second fresh get of the week.
This is a book I picked up on Saturday. I had taken it with me to Terrificon, and Alex, Collecting Dude, helped me through his magical powers get it signed and submitted, and it came back from CGC to the store that we were using to handle all that for us. It's a book I won at an auction a couple months ago, and I thought it was really high grade. I knew it had a few spine ticks on it, but I was thinking like 8.5, 9, maybe a 9.2 on a good day. So I'm a little actually disappointed with the grade, but it's a great book. And now it's got a great SIG on it. And so apparently it has, quote, very light stain somewhere on the cover, which I didn't see, and I still don't see it. So we got a 7.5, but we got an Iron Fist 14 signed by Chris Claremont now. And it's a really nice 7.5 is all I can say.
Yeah, I want to see that in person and see if I can spot any of the issues.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's this. I think if you get a stain on a book, I think that automatically you're in like 8.5 to 8.0 range. So I think
stains are bad.
The stain and then the couple little defects, they dropped it down to the 7.5. The stain always is going to hurt it really hard. I just don't know where the stain is. I didn't see it. But anyway, it's a great key.
That is a great key. And it is unfortunate you got a lower grade than you thought. But we had Lunch Money Comics on last week, and that was it was such a great, like,
it was the question was it's a non-X-Men book, but it's an X-Men key with a cover by Dave Cockrum, interior art by John Byrne, written by Chris Claremont. So
good.
The three godfathers of the modern X-Men. That was a cool little trivia question.
And none of us could get it, to be honest.
So that book has been in Fresh from the Comic Shop from our guest 2 weeks in a row. That's pretty funny.
It is a great book.
It's
got all the goodness right there.
Yes, first copy I've ever had, and happy to have it.
Beautiful, cool. Beautiful, beautiful. This one right here is absolutely unique. No doubt about that. Mark Lineker. I love this. This unopened 3-pack of Chuck Norris Karate Commandos represents, by the way, Commandos is spelled with a K as well, represents exactly 75% of the 4-issue run. It couldn't last more than 4 issues. Otherwise, it would have torn a hole in the space-time continuum, and the Earth would have plunged into a dimension of awesomeness so intense our brains would have exploded. Galactus is Chuck Norris's herald. I've opened the door to this well-known rabbit hole. It's up to you if you want to walk through it. I mean, wow. I love it. I love this submission wholeheartedly. Look at Mike's face. Yeah,
that's right.
That book, by the way, that book,
and you were thinking about walking through that door too.
That book is a sneaky, surprising, expensive as crap 9.8.
Really interesting. I wonder if it's like a newsstand there too.
Raw copies usually sell for 10, 15, maybe even $20 in high grade. But yeah, like 9.8s are several $100s.
So good. It is so good. And he got that for, maybe he got that for $2. I don't know, at like Ollie's or something like that. Who's next? Joe, your second fresh get of the week.
Yeah, so this is actually from the dollar bin today. It's not one of the ones I showed off because it's not one of the more expensive books, just because of the printing and the condition. I checked it. I think it's third printing. But this is for the PC. I don't have a copy of this one. I collect all of the books by I'm not sure if his name's pronounced Jonan or Yonan Vasquez, or and also his friend Roman Dersh. Basically this is really creepy horror-esque type stuff. There's a run called Lenore. There's Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. These two have worked on a bunch of things, including Invader Zim, which was a great show from my childhood. This is I Feel Sick, issue number 1. Again, this is the third printing, I think. Oh, no, this is the 6th printing. And it's mid-grade. So it's totally a dollar bin book, maybe worth a couple bucks. But again, this one's just for the personal collection. And that's why we do this. I don't always buy books to sell and to do show, do and put up with the claim sale, have it, whatever. I have a big old personal collection that I love to feed, and this one is definitely staying in there. And yes, a very sick cover for sure.
It reminds me of A Nightmare Before Christmas, which is what we watched all day yesterday. My daughter.
Cool, very
And her
cool.
big prize that she won. She wanted to get who's the main villain from the movie?
Boogie Boogie.
Yeah, she wanted to get him from Build-A-Bear, which she did. So, she loves him. She
You
thinks
can build a boogie.
yeah, she thinks he's so cute.
Yeah,
her exact words.
I'm a
He's made a bar.
boogie man.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, she wants a sequel to the movie, but I told her that's probably not.
I have a buddy that made a homemade Oogie Boogie costume, he made it out of burlap.
Yeah, I was gonna say burlap sack.
Yeah, I sewed it it was pitch perfect.
I'll tell you what, this is not made out of burlap. It's very soft, velvety, and fluffy, and it's again cute. She did buy accessories for him though, bought the boots, and he's got a plaid collared shirt. It's very fall looking. So yes. Anyways, moving on. We got Marvel Man 616 Comics. Amazing Spider-Man 346 featuring the iconic cover art of Venom by Eric Larson. Also a newsstand there, so that's a nice little book for sure. That's a classic cover. Love it. Guys, we're gonna move on to my second fresh get of the week. I feel like I missed the boat on getting this. I'm trying to pick up all of these covers, but again, it's brand new. I'm loving this series, guys. And if you want something fun, new to read, especially if you're a child of the 80s with the Hasbro toys, G.I. Joe Transformers, you're gonna love this. This is Void Rivals number 2. I think this is the third printing. This is the main villain who I can't remember. I'm definitely reading this. I can't remember what this dude's name is. But this first cover appearance of him right there. I think it's the third printing. Is it the second printing? My bad. Second printing. But I'm really enjoying this series big time. And I recommend it if you guys want a good read. All right, moving on. We have who do we have? Nori Jordan. Did you guys know? Fun fact about Nori Jordan. Loves Thunderbolts.
I heard that once.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. As you can see by this right here. I will have to watch Comic Book Canon on replay this week because I'll be at the Patriots game Sunday night. This has caused me who cares actually? We beat them. Moving on. This caused me to send my submission earlier than I ever have. Please send them early. It's so much easier for all of us if it's sent early. That goes for everybody. I love early submissions. Sadly, when I had to sell a lot of my books a while ago, many of my favorite books were among them. One of the hardest to sell was my Hulk 449 9.8, which you all know is the first appearance of Thunderbolts. This week, I was able to get this back in my collection, and now I can sleep well. With this back in my collection, I reunited it with my Thunderbolts number 1 9.8s and Hulk 449 9.6 newsstand. It was hard to sell some of my favorite books last year, but luckily I have been able to get most back and some at a higher grade. Take care, everyone. We are always rooting for you to own all of the copies ever produced in the world of Thunderbolts. We hope that you complete that goal. You sound like a madman. Mike, is this your third? Yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah, go to Joe.
Yeah, let's save Mike's for last because he's got something special apparently.
Okay. How will we do it? We'll just keep because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more submissions left. Let's just go to Nuke's Comics real quick. Fresh from the comic shop, the Amazing Spider-Man 129 facsimile. The mysterious Jackal misleads the Punisher as he sets to aim to kill Spidey. Can Spider-Man convince Punisher he's not the murderer he thinks he is? Great reprint of a major key. I picked this up from Keith's Comics. Now I have 2. Good stuff indeed. We love it. We're going to go Pete Keel here too.
Wow.
Found this at a house I was remodeling. Centerfold intact and DNA free. I can't say this is fresh from a comic shop. And I don't know. I don't know. I just had to include it, guys. Your thoughts? Anybody want to comment on it?
Wait, that's what Jenny McCarthy used to look like?
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize
that.
She
was on MTV. Anybody in the comments, please, or Mike, if you know.
Hashtag FFAPTCS.
A piece of All right, I'm just gonna keep
It's
that.
a thinker.
Yeah. I'm just gonna Mark Lineker. It's not even. It's likely not even fresh, guys. He did say that it's DNA free, which I would think that there are no stains there. So,
Well, I didn't think there was any stains on this, but apparently there was. So I guarantee there's stains on that.
You're right. That's a very, very good point. We're gonna, you know what? There's no good segue here. So we're gonna go to Joe. Your final fresh get of the week. What do you got?
Yeah, so this was a local comic shop pickup. It's been sitting for a while at the store because of the condition. Really, it's a low grade book. It's got tape on it, but I had built up some store credit at my local comic shop because I'm a nerd and I play Magic the Gathering there every week, and they pay out prizes in store credit. So I had enough store credit to purchase this, and I was like, you know what? It's low grade. It's not something I really collect. But you know what? Let's grab it. It'll look great on my wall. It'll look great in claim sales, and someone will eventually want it. And it is 1941 DC Comics Star Spangled Comics number 2.
Wow.
1941. Now you can tell this is all this different color here. That's stain all right there. Got like wet at some point. I'm gonna try to hold it so you can see there's tape here, tape here, tape here. The cover's detached, but it is complete. Tape holding the cover on, but complete. Nothing cut out from inside. It's all there. It's just low grade. Probably if you actually got this graded, it could get anywhere from like a 1.0 to a 1.8. Maybe you clean it up a little bit and get the stain out a little bit. Maybe you get a 2.0, but honestly, probably not. Probably that 1.0 to 1.8 range. But it's from 1941. It's going to be beat.
And as T-Shoe says here, it is history. And that's
for sure.
Fact. That is a fact for sure. We're going to go. Our guy. What's that?
It's stained.
That's a fact.
The word of the day is stain, apparently.
Yeah, we've been encountering that a lot. Next up, we got Raising Hell. We did it again. Howdy, comics fans. Hope everyone is doing well this weekend. I got a package in the mail earlier this week from my good friend Chris, a.k.a. Journos Comics, and it was filled with Star Wars comics. Chris recently picked up a huge Star Wars collection, which he did a video about on his YouTube channel. He knows I've been working on completing the Volume 1 run for my son, Elijah, so he immediately hit me up and we worked out the details. He threw in this copy of issue 35 for free because the spine had some extra staples in it, but it still looks great. This particular cover reminded me of the chessboard my mom had made for us a few years back. Seen in the picture. Guys, he's doing it. He's tying everything in here. She's a very talented and skilled craftsman who has built other elaborate pieces for our home. Thank you so much to Chris for being an awesome friend and for being an amazing member of this comic book community. More Star Wars goodness to come in the weeks ahead. Much love, comic fam. Again, that's tying in, pulling at our heartstrings. That's tying in, composing a great shot. Not quite that unique of a book, but it's well done. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I've heard that's a song. But yeah. My last fresh get of the week before we get to the grand finale is, by the way, the Pope promised us some fireworks. And again, this is going to pale in comparison probably to what the Pope has, but I'm going to go Void Rivals again. This is such a cool cover. This is the third printing of number 1. It's just great. I'm not sure who did it.
That's a really cool cover.
Isn't it? So cool. So I was glad I picked these up. I went to the comic book shop yesterday with my daughter in the mall, and these are still sitting there. So I finally got my hands on these. But guys, I really like this. I really like
it. It almost looks like Stephen Platt with all the line work, all the little like etching lines and stuff like that.
Let's see if we can.
Looks very cool. It's not Stephen Platt, obviously, but
I'm not sure who did this cover. I'll have to get back to you on that again. But a great cover. Great covering.
I wanted Jetfire so bad as a kid. And I actually saved up to get him and went to the store and they didn't have any. And I think I ended up buying Optimus Prime instead. I didn't have Optimus Prime.
Oh, yeah.
I love Jetfire.
Jetfire's dope. Yep, for sure. Like, I'm just reading Mark Lineker's. Yeah, it takes me back. I was very lucky to have Optimus. I feel like that was one of my favorite toys. And yeah, did my submission not get picked for this week? We never turned down submissions, and I apologize if we missed yours.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
I don't know why, but we'll be happy to share it with you share it with everybody next week. Yeah. Did I say Royd Vivals? I don't think I did. If I did.
Royd Vivals. That's great.
And that's the fact. Justin gives everyone a run of their money each and every week. But apparently, we have a big surprise right here that Mike is going to reveal right now. Mike.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's pick the winner.
Okay.
How about that? And then we'll wrap up with what I got.
I like that. Okay.
What
sticks out to you?
I mean, honestly, these, the crew here, they make it every week. They make it harder and harder. I was really impressed. And there's a lot. Is anybody ineligible that I should know about?
Yes, there is somebody here.
Dr.
Jordan.
Dr. Plagueis, did he win at some point?
No.
Okay. Nori Jordan.
That's it. No, that's it.
Okay.
All right. I definitely have a top 2.
Okay.
Shoot.
And I think my top 2 were the first one was Bob Zilla.
Bob Zilla. Hell yeah.
Love that. The great book, great cover, 9/8. I mean, the Hennessy touch is fantastic. And I loved Goonish Lurkers. No.
Sorry, I had to, because P. Keel said my book makes it harder and harder.
I loved the.
Sorry,
I think it's a great book, really unique. I loved the story of the what he does with them, and so I'm going to edge it out to Goonish Lurker for the.
Goonish Lurker
with it. Unique book, great photo. I think it checked all the boxes. Bobzilla, I loved it. So close.
Yeah.
And a bunch. I wrote down honestly almost every submission. Made my note sheet. Yeah. So great week, guys.
And there you go. Goonish Lurker, you are moving on to the semifinals. You'll be going up against last week's semi that moved on to the semifinals. Gosh, guys, wow. But yeah, I don't remember who that is, but we're gonna get that going on today. We do need a record keeper. Thank you, C to the G. We really do. So congratulations, Goonish Lurker. Great job, everybody. Great week, another great week. And I can't wait to see what you got, Mike. Go
ahead. Sorry, did you say something, Joe?
No. I think Joe may have said something.
No, I didn't say anything. I want to see what this is. Show us.
Yeah. I mean, I know the show's going long tonight, guys. So it's just, but this is, something I'm going to share with you guys. And
it's not a big deal. It's just we're fried. It's not that the show's going long, because sometimes it does go long.
I know. I got to be on a train to DC in the morning too.
There you go.
So you think about all the coincidences that went into this week, and this is just sort of wrapping it up, right? So we had your original guest, Chris, who couldn't make it.
Yep.
And then you guys came crawling to the Pope, like Enzo the baker on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Crawling to the Pope.
Would you be my friend?
That's my favorite. From you. That's my favorite 90s band, Crawling to the Pope.
Here I am. Always happy to help. And then literally, this is the fresh from the comic shop ever. 2 hours before the show. Okay.
Wow.
I'm cooking dinner and the doorbell rings on a Sunday at 5 o'clock. And I open the door to FedEx.
Oh God! It
And
is what I thought it was.
Joe knows what's about to happen. So, guys, I'm going to open this box.
Okay.
There is one book in here, and it's a good one.
Okay, we're going to give you some time. Joe, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited would you be if this was in your possession?
Oh, massively excited. This would be, I mean, depending where the grade comes back, at least a top 10 most valuable book in my collection, probably a top 3. You know, we're going to see what the grade is. This is, I'll let Mike tell the story, but this was just an insane right place at the right time, scouring online for comic book pickup. Potentially a massive score, and we're gonna see because Mike doesn't know the grade, and
I do not know the grade. I know that the
wow.
book. I'm just configuring, how I need to hold it.
These are great comments, by the way. There's already some hate going on. Dan's setting it up. Mark's trying to jinx you. Hope it wasn't damaged in transit. And everybody's doing the, what's in the box.
I know that the book was high grade when I sent it in, and although it was high grade, and although it's a fairly modernish book, I decided to make the investment, and I sent it off to my good friends at Spineworks, Mike Raphael. I know he put some extra TLC into this book. Now it actually went through as a high value with them. They have a high value tier, and so he wasn't doing many favors, but he made sure. Like we talked about it. I know he did stains. I hope not.
God.
I know he did a few passes on this book as part of their service when you do high tier. So yeah. So I love those guys, and they do great work, and I hope they did great work here. He submitted it for me, and it is it's back, and it is it's going to be the most valuable book in my collection right now. This is the most valuable book currently in my possession.
I think we need to preface this without saying much more by this book. It's super high grade. But the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8 is a couple $1,000.
Yeah,
we're talking about, the smallest spine tick being a couple $1,000 loss in this book.
That's crazy. So, okay.
Yeah. I got this book in a Facebook marketplace deal. A guy, and people that follow me know what I'm talking about now, I think. A guy posted one of those pictures where he just scattered all of his books on the floor. And I saw a sliver of a corner sticking out. And I said, there's no effing way that this book is in here. And it was $500 for the box. The rest of the box, I'm probably going to triple up on. This book is house money I'm playing with. Okay. And it's not a book you come across every day. So I'll show you the book first. I got the grade covered. And I'm just super excited to have it. So here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, snap. Oh!
So this is
tilted the other way.
Number 1. This is the Dark Horse 100 variant. Okay. If you don't know what these were, just really quickly, Dark Horse with their, I think it was like their 10th and 20th anniversary or something. They did a bunch of their books where they did a variant of special cover. This is a Dave Filoni cover.
That's so sick.
Okay. 1,000 copies. Okay. This is again, guys, this wasn't when there were all kinds of stores exclusives and stuff coming out. Right. So they did 1,000 copies, and they did this not just with this book, but with a few other books. And it was 10 comic book stores got into a lottery, and or 10 stores won the lottery of 100 copies each.
Jesus.
Okay. And they did a number of books like this. There's probably about 10 or 15 books that did this Dark Horse 100 thing. And one of them just happened to be like one of the biggest modern keys out there, which is the first appearance of Ahsoka and Captain Rex. Okay. And this is just like, this is the grail of Star Wars comics, like, period. And I got right place, right time, like Joe said, and super sick. And here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Wow. Wow.
So it's my right hand, right? Okay, here we go.
Oh God. Yeah!
That's it.
Oh no, my God.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah, that was seriously, we were on the edge of our seats right there. Holy shit.
dude, that is a minimally like, I'm talking lower than all recent sales is $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're talking about a book that has had high sales of 5 figures.
Yeah, this book peaked at like 16K in the COVID.
Wow.
Okay, now it's been on a downward trend. I mean, obviously, it was super peaked. Even when I found this book a few months ago, it was like, I was looking at it as about a $7,000 9.8. One just sold last week for $5,500 on eBay, on an eBay auction. Okay, so it's even, you know, like, even with the show, it's still kind of like, there's even a few sales under 5K, but you know, it's one of 1,000, and there's about 150-ish 9.8s on the census.
Woo!
And there's no 9.9s or no 10s on this. This is the highest grade of this book. And it's just like, I don't know, just super, super lucky and super sick find.
cool.
And
It was so cool to be a part of that too, for us, the audience, everybody. That's really great. Everybody.
That other than the 35-cent price variant of #1, that's the best Star Wars book. I think that is more than a 9.8 of Star Wars 1. I think 9.8 of Star Wars 1 is only like 4,000 now. Maybe I might be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. But if at worst, this is the third best 9.8 Star Wars book that you can have.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. So, super, super sick. I probably am going to sell it, Josh. I got to look at sort of where the market is and decide, do I want to hang on to it for a while and see if, I don't know, but,
so cool.
For me, like, again, it's just, it's enough to have owned it, but I don't know, maybe I'll, now that it's in my hand, I kind of feel like I want to hang on to. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
hey, you want to Hulk 181? We can work out a trade.
Wow, that is, honestly, that was very cool to see that happen just now.
Yeah, I'm happy to share that with you guys. Like I said, and just great timing that it showed up. I wasn't even supposed to be on the show, and then I'm on the show, and the show's up at the door, and it's like, holy crap, So
yeah, that was outstanding. That really, really was outstanding. We're gonna have to cut that clip too, by the way.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Wow. Oh man, I'm ecstatic for you. I think everybody in this, on the show is ecstatic for you. Again, we thank you for coming on last minute here. We'll have Chris Killian on next month. I do believe we have a great guest next weekend, which we won't confirm it just yet, right? We'll just make sure it's in writing.
I confirmed it already. We're good.
We have the contracts and all that stuff. You know what I
mean?
We
have to do the contracts. We'll give you a hint. It is a return guest. It's someone that has been on the show before, has passed the test. So they will not have to be interviewed again, but they have something interesting to share about their experience in the comic industry, doing something that, a lot of us comic book people have not done.
Yeah, that's a good point. So again, thank y'all. Time is our most precious commodity. We appreciate the time you all spend with us. Mike, especially you sharing that moment with us. That was very special. Joe or Mike, why don't you just a few words talking about how great we are, basically how we've improved your life.
Yeah. Have a great week, everybody. Great to be here with you.
Joseph, you got the final say here.
I have the final say.
Yeah, the final words, the final whatever.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for hanging out. I had a crazy comic book pack weekend. For those of you who weren't following my escapades, I did a claim sale Friday night, dollar bin sale at my house for my community yard sale in my neighborhood Saturday morning, claim sale Saturday night, comic show this morning, the dollar bin show that I went to, and then comic book canon today. So it's been nonstop the whole weekend, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but I am going to crash within a few minutes.
Ditto. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Again, thanks so much. We'll be back again next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, with another special guest. They're all special. Until then, be good to yourselves and be good to others. Peace.